if you're thinking about buying the Beast blender, hold on just a second, because I'm going to share some things about this popular blender that might totally change your mind. At first glance, the Beast blender promises powerful blending performance with a sleek design and lots of features. But here's what surprised me. There are some glaring issues that could leave you disappointed. Most people expect their blender to handle everything from smoothies to ice crushing without a hitch. But the Beast blender seems to struggle in ways you don't initially expect. So stick around. I'll dig deep into the good, the bad, and the problems that might make it a blender you want to rethink before hitting buy. By the way, if you love a smoothie that's perfectly smooth, keep watching. You'll want to know if this blender can actually deliver that. Let me quickly tell you who this blender is really aimed at. The Beast blender is marketed to health enthusiasts, busy parents, and anyone who needs a reliable kitchen machine that can handle everyday blending tasks. The sales pitch is all about power, efficiency, and ease of use. But, and this is a big but, when I tested this blender alongside other popular models in its price range, I found a few surprises that could frustrate those same users. Before we jump into details, picture this. You make a smoothie, excited to start your day, and instead of silky smooth goodness, you get a chunky mess. If you hate wasting your fresh fruits and protein powder because your blender can't keep up, then this review is a must-watch. Now, you might have heard of the Beast blender's 4.1-star rating on Amazon, which sounds decent, right? But what's behind that number? Ratings on Amazon don't always tell the full story. Let me take you through some of the key issues and let you decide if this machine is really worth your hard-earned money. First, the blender's design is pretty sleek, stainless steel finish, compact footprint, and it boasts multiple speed settings and pre-programmed modes for smoothies, crush ice, and even soups. Sounds great, but here's where things get tricky. Users report the motor sometimes overheating during heavy use, which means the blender shuts down unexpectedly. Imagine mid-smoothie meltdown. Definitely not the kind of performance you want when you're rushing out the door. Speaking of power, the Beast blender advertises a 1500-watt motor, which should be plenty for most blending needs. But in reality, the motor struggles to handle tougher ingredients like frozen fruit and ice. It ends up taking way longer than advertised, or worse yet, it leaves chunks behind that ruin the texture of your drink. I tested a batch of frozen strawberries and spinach, and rather than a smooth blend, I got little bits of unblended ice that turned my smoothie into a chew-your-way-through this. I mean, if I wanted to chew my smoothie, I'd just eat a salad, right? Joke aside, this is a real frustration for people who want quick and smooth results. Now here's a twist. The Beast blender's jar is made from BPA-free Triton plastic, which makes it lightweight and easy to handle. That sounds like a win, but the trade-off is that the jar scratches very easily. Scratched jars can harbor bacteria and mess with blending efficiency over time. For a product meant to be a beast in the kitchen, it's surprisingly fragile in everyday use. One reviewer noted that after just a few weeks, their blender jar looked like it had survived a sandpaper test. So, for the health-conscious, this is a pretty big red flag. Let's talk noise, because nothing kills a Sunday morning smoothie vibe like a blender roaring like a jet engine. The Beast blender is loud, like really loud. It's about as loud as a small lawn mower, which means if you live with light sleepers or have kids at home, early morning blending is going to be torture for everyone. Compared to other blenders in the same price range, this one ranks near the top for noise pollution. I'm half convinced you could wake up the neighborhood if you blend before sunrise. The joke in my testing kitchen was, this blender could probably double as a foghorn warning us of some kitchen disaster. Rehook time. What if I told you that despite all these problems, the Beast blender does have some redeeming features that could make it a decent buy for certain people? Yep. For small blending jobs like mixing protein shakes or whipping up simple salad dressings, it works fine. And it looks good on your counter, which matters if aesthetics are your thing. However, if you need a blender to truly handle heavy-duty jobs regularly, this might not be your best bet. Curious what those redeeming features are in detail? Keep watching. There's a silver lining here. Okay, let's dig into the build quality and ease of cleaning. One area where the Beast Blender scores points is in its user-friendly interface. The buttons are responsive, and the pre-programmed settings mean you don't have to guess what blending speed suits your recipe. For busy people, this is a nice perk. Sometimes you just want one button and done. Plus, the blender jar is dishwasher safe, which is a convenience many people appreciate. And there's always a but. The lid and gasket are notoriously difficult to clean properly, often trapping smoothie residue around the rubber seal. If you don't clean it thoroughly after each use, you may notice foul smells and mold buildup. Gross, right? I don't know about you, but I don't want mildew in my morning smoothie. Here's a story from one of the Amazon reviewers that stuck with me. They bought the Beast blender hoping it would replace their old blender that finally gave up. At first, the reviews looked promising and the price seemed fair. But after a few weeks, the motor started making a strange grinding noise, and the blender just wouldn't reach the speed it promised. They contacted customer service, thankfully, and got a replacement, but even then, the problems persisted. This isn't an isolated case either. Several users point out that the Beast lives up to its name only for a short time before performance dips. If you're someone who blends daily, that's a huge warning sign. Another kicker: the warranty. The Beast blender comes with a 1-year warranty, which is standard, but many users found the customer service response to be slow or unhelpful. If your blender breaks after a few months and needs repair, good luck getting timely support. The hassle might cost you more time and money than just investing in a higher-end model to start with. And here's a joke for you. Sounds like the Beast Blender's support team blends into thin air when you need them most. Rehook again. So what should you do if you're drawn to the Beast Blender's affordable price and stylish design? My advice is to weigh your blending needs carefully. If you're blending lightly or infrequently, this blender might be a good fit. But if you want a true workhorse that can crush ice, blend thick smoothies, and last for years, you may want to look elsewhere. Let me also mention that there are some competitors with similar price points, but better reliability and motor power. So why settle for the Beast if there are options that perform both better and quieter? Keep this question in mind as we near the wrap-up. One last feature to discuss is the blending jar capacity. The Beast blender offers a 64-ounce jar, which is good for larger batches. That's perfect if you're making smoothies for your whole family or pre-prepping for the week. But remember, the power limitations and motor overheating can make large batches inconsistent. Also, the blender jar is not very tall, which means you get better blending results if you don't overfill it. Trying to blend a full jar without stopping to stir leads to uneven texture, a problem that quick-stop blending sessions can't fix. Another practical downside to consider before committing. Before we get to the final verdict, here are a couple more light moments. Why did the blender break up with the smoothie? Because it found someone with more juice. And another, how do you make a blender laugh? You tickle its buttons. Too cheesy? Perhaps. But blending smooth jokes and smooth drinks is an art this blender still needs to master. Okay, here's the bottom line. The Beast blender has some real potential with its look and some user-friendly features. But performance issues like motor overheating, poor ice crushing, and noisy operation hold it back from being a top choice. For casual users wanting a blender that looks good on the counter and handles simple tasks, it could be worth a try given its reasonable price. But if you rely on your blender for daily heavy blending, think green smoothies, frozen drinks, nut butters, then the Beast blender may leave you frustrated and searching for a replacement sooner than you'd like. So where can you find the best deal? I've included a link in the description below that takes you straight to Amazon for the current best price. Remember, prices fluctuate and sometimes Amazon runs lightning deals, so it's worth checking often if you decide to go for it. Think through how you'll use the blender, consider the potential issues I've highlighted, and then make your choice confidently. When it comes to kitchen appliances, the right fit is everything. Thanks for watching. If you found this honest review of the Beast Blender helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing for more in-depth reviews so your next kitchen purchase is a slam dunk, not a blender crash. And hey, feel free to leave a comment with your own experiences if you've tried the Beast Blender. Sharing real stories helps everyone make smarter choices. Until next time, blend wisely.